You're listening to Proudly Set, the LGBTQ plus community podcast where members of the community and their allies come together to share their experiences, tell their stories. I'm your host, John Hyland, and let's get into the next episode. If you're watching this, I apologise in advance. I've been out this morning and it's a bit windy out there, so my hair has been naturally diffused. Back for another episode, back in my house, and I'm here with the fabulous Maddie. And I'm here with the fabulous Mario Kyriacou.
Oh, hello, John. Are you all right?
I had to ask you when you first came in how to pronounce your surname, because it's one of them. I've known you for a long time, but I've never actually said your surname out loud.
I know, Kyriacou, yeah. Kyriacou if you're Greek, but yeah.
I was going to say, what is the origins?
Yeah, Greek Cypriot.
Greek?
Yeah, my family are from. So.
Oh, that's the complexion.
Yeah, that's the Greek in me, like they say.
So many people in Liverpool's, and further afield, to be fair, will know of you previously as someone who worked massively within like the sexual health side of things, whether it's Armistead. Well, not just sexual health, just general health practitioner. But people know you from the Armistead, from a Sahir house. But more recently, with your, how would you actually describe cheer up parties? Like, what would you like? How would you classify that as an event?
Well, cheer up. To be honest, it was about the music. People came together. It actually came around about 14 years ago this summer, where it was a cancelled concert for like Stock Aitken Mortman acts.
Right.
So it was a massive big Hyde Park event with like Kylie, Jason, Bananarama. Got cancelled because of the rain. And then a party came about called Cheer Up. It was like on the Fred. So that's why it's called Cheer Up. So it was so well received that actually we did a reunion then in Birmingham. It originally started in London, then went to Birmingham, and then we travelled around. The first event was in Liverpool in 2013 with Sonia.
Of course it was. Why would it be?
Well, to be honest, I was organising that and I thought, Liverpool, Sonia, it has to be. So, and from then, it's literally done like 170 parties.
Wow.
Monthlies in London. Done quite a lot in London, Liverpool, Manchester. Travelled really around on Pride events, being part of Pride events itself, the parades. So it's just been a real ongoing journey. I hate the word journey, but you know, journey. But you know, it's been a fairy tale because I was a fan. I grew up with that sort of music.
Yeah.
So to actually be working and ringing people like Sinita and Sonia and going, "Oh, do you want to do an event?" That's quite cool.
Well, how did that come about again? Because like we'll get into your previous stuff in a minute, but like you've gone from working in this very clinical side of like the world. How did you then fall into that?
Well, to be honest, I left home at 16 and came out in London. So my first gay venues was like Soho. You know, I went around Soho Square, went to Old Compton Street. So that was my sort of knocking shop, literally. So to me, I was doing media. I did things with Danny Minogue. I did things with like GAYs with Jeremy Joseph. I used to do some work with them. So to me, I've always had that musical link from being quite young. I came back to Liverpool and the first job I actually worked when I came back was in a LGBTQ bar called The End, which it came around about 2004. It opened similar time to Superstar Boudoir and Navy Bar. It was literally the old City FM building.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they took over the 2 floors and they had like a real futuristic looking downstairs, which was like full of mannequins, and upstairs was like a really old school bar. It didn't last long. I think no more than a year, actually.
Seems to be a running trend for lots of gay bars. You have your established ones and then a few that just pop up.
And it's a shame because it's great that Navy and Superstar are still around in forms, but The End literally was designed in such a way that I'm surprised it didn't last. It's now a deli, I think. So yeah, from there, after that job, I then had a little shop in Quiggins called Camp.
Jesus.
Before that was knocked down. Fucking hell. Everyone
Old school Quiggins.
It's followed me. Old school Quiggins on School Lane. So that was like a sort of a creative art shop. So it was like, I was really inspired by the Andy Warhol type photos. So I kind of thought, actually I'll do an initiative of like designing people's own photos. So that's what came about from then. Alongside that, working in the Curzon, which again was one of the very first gay bars I ever went to when visiting Liverpool. So that was an experience as well. I can
imagine.
But it's sad that all 3 places have actually been demolished and gone in Liverpool.
Quite literally.
Apart from The End, I know maybe it's me.
I was going to say, there's a common denominator here, Mario.
So actually doing Cheer Up for 14 years has been the longest sort of role I've actually
So your
done.
background was actually more in that creative space, and then the health thing was more, I need to pay my bills.
Well, to be honest, I think I got to an age, just before I started with Armistead I decided to do like a counselling course. I think sometimes self-reflection, I kind of felt like, you know what, I kind of understand myself more. And sometimes you kind of want to learn about what makes
Your brain tick.
understanding. Like, everyone has mental health, people see it as a negative, but mental health is just your mental well-being at any point, be it good, be it bad. We've all got that, and that wasn't something that was really talked about 20 years ago.
God, no.
So actually to do a course to get more of an understanding was kind of like something I wanted to do. So when doing the first year, kind of realised doing counselling, actually it's more about listening and not guiding. So I thought, maybe this is not for me. So I actually fell into a job. Funny enough, I saw it on Neighbours. It was called a life coach.
Okay,
I think Lynn Scully randomly became one. And I thought, what an interesting job to actually be able to connect with people, to understand their life, health and well-being. Funny enough, there was a similar thing in Liverpool called the Health Trainer Service, which was run by the PCT before it disbanded to like separate departments. And PCT was, I think it's public health. It was before it became like NHS. So it was called PCT, which was the umbrella for the city council and I think the NHS. This was going about 2009. So a job came up. If I'm honest, I can't even remember applying for it. It's one of those mind lapses that I think, did I apply for it online? Did I get it from the Echo?
Just happened to have a job.
Wasn't it? Yeah. And apparently out of all the 100 people applied, I was number one, I was told, and I got the job. And I was there till they 2P'd over around 2018. But within doing that, I then used those links to work with like a lot of the communities, because I'd done Armistead for about 4 years at that point. And I kind of brought that sort of health and well-being to a service which is great. Armistead has always been great to be in a safe space for people who kind of want to experience, they might be part of the LGBT community, but in a way, I think there's a lot of people who think, why don't people just go out to gay bars or this or that? But I think when the people aren't 100% comfortable in themselves or are still hiding from themselves, a space like that where it's a bit more anonymous really helps, because a lot of the time now, especially in Liverpool, a lot of the LGBTQI venues have become quite open to everyone. So you might get someone who feels, I don't want my straight mates to go there, see me so they won't go, which is the irony of it being a bar catering for our community. So Armistead was in itself pioneering Liverpool to offer that service.
It's interesting as well, just on the bar thing. I think I need to champion them a little bit. It's like, I can understand the nighttime economy's fucked right now.
Oh yeah, totally, especially now with parking.
Well,
I was shocked.
Exactly.
When I did Navy Bar, I had to pay fucking till midnight. I was like, what?
Well, yeah, exactly. So it's, so I can imagine, I can understand why they have to change tact, but you know, ensure the character is still there and the ethos, sorry. But I think on Armistead it's interesting, because I think it's important for people to say it was a daytime space, and most people described it as like, it was like someone's living room.
Oh yeah, did you ever go into it?
Not for like support, but I knew of it, and I obviously would go past it all the time, and I engaged with the likes of other people I know who did utilize the service and knew the likes of you and the others who were involved.
So when I started, because I believe, because obviously I've met like people like Gareth Williams and all the staff there who I'm really still good friends with, but I think it started up at the top of Bold Street Way, maybe towards the News from Nowhere, if I remember rightly. But when I started, it was up on Stanley Street.
That's what I remember from it,
I think on top of like an estate agent. But you're right, it was huge. It was like triple the size of any living room, with loads of sofas, a table and chairs. But a thing with them, they did like a free drop-ins during the week, like you said, sort of afternoon, evening time, and then they did support for additional like HIV support, mental health support. So there was a lot of different services that come in. They also did street, which was support like women and men who basically sold themselves on the street, to give them the sort of safety aspects. So for example, if someone's taking heroin, they would provide like, you know, the lemon and the sort of spoon so they wouldn't share.
Right.
So it kind of became
it's making a safe space to like make sure that they're doing what they need to do in the most, what's the word I'm trying to look for here? Like secure place to do it. Yeah.
Secure way and safe way. There was no prejudice. There's no judgment. It was about things like this go on, people go into circumstances that unfortunately they can't help.
Yeah.
And therefore, we're not going to start wagging our finger. We're there to support. And I think that's what sort of echoed with that service and with the LGBTQI.
Yeah.
I was like, everyone was welcome, you know, it was safe. And again, I think when they started Pride in 2010, it was a great place to be working because it was that excitement. I remember like Armistead always took the lead in the parade and wore their themes when it was a theme, like the circus theme and the character themes and superheroes. So it was an exciting place. And I think Liverpool is exciting in that way, that it's kind of a unique city that everyone loves it. There's so much history, and I think that's something that we need to be proud of and continue to be.
I think it's important that the likes of yourself and others are there to tell it, because I think there's been a few people I've spoken to and I've mentioned Armistead and they've gone, "What's that?"
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I think it's simply because like we haven't had something instead of it. Because I think that was probably the closest thing we had to like an LGBT centre.
Yeah, totally.
Like a space you can go in the daytime, and there's been nothing since. And yeah, so sorry, Theo wants to get on the couch and we're not letting him on. Not letting you on, you swine. Because yeah, I do think there's a certain group of people that most people from like definitely my age and a bit older will sorry. will associate with yourself, Gareth, Lynn, Martin. They're the people that I remember.
Yeah.
And that was Armistead. And then obviously, funding changed and XYZ, and that's sadly the way the world has gone. But it's nice to see that you have maintained those relationships.
Oh good, yeah. And I think that's what happens in life. You grow and you meet people from different parts of it. There is a saying, friendships are for life, seasons or reasons or life.
Yes.
And there's people from there who, were there for a reason and a season I still speak, who are really good friends. But then there's people who you know and you learn from, because like when you're 20-something, someone who's older, I've always took it as inspirational. I've never been someone on the scene where I feel like, oh, they're too old to be here. To be honest, someone older is knowledge, and
it's experience.
You forget where they came from in the sense of how we've got to where we are. I always remember when I was 16 and first moving to London, my very first friend who I ever met who was gay was back then they just called it AIDS, and unfortunately he passed away at 23. But you learn. I always remember actually, because it was the big taboo with HIV and AIDS, what was just called AIDS back then, where it was an advert of a tombstone. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember it, but I know it.
Yeah, this real, when you're like about 8 and you see that, and then there's like some sort of like, there was this weird telephone program which was like lasting 12 hours on the ITV, which showed how you can and can't get it, and it was all that stigma about catching it from spit and blah blah blah, and
so much of misinformation and inaccuracies.
So I always remember when I first met my friend, and I was in his flat in Earls Court, and he came out with a cup of tea and his Beck Gilroy mug from Corrie, and you do have that sort of thing in your minds of, oh gosh, but then I thought, no, you can't catch it that way. You learn.
Oh, is it like because you were about to share the mug?
Well, that
use the same mug.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Is like these naiveties of the 90s, and I feel like to be in 2000, and even though right now seems like a real precarious, worrying time.
Absolutely.
It also feels like the educational side is so solid about viruses and illnesses and how you catch them, whereas being 16 or 15 or 12 or whatever in the 90s, you only saw it from TV, and it was more of a negative connotation. So that's
did you watch It's a Sin?
I loved It's a Sin.
Is that like watching your life?
No, but that was the 80s, so that was a little bit before, but obviously meeting my friend and AIDS being really rife, especially in London.
If I just put like years on you there, sorry.
I know.
Sorry, Mario.
Actually, my partner he did a little cameo in It's a Sin, actually.
He did.
Yeah. So, yeah, Russell T. Davies. I actually remember I was going to apply for that. But they wanted you to grow your hair out and stuff like that, and I really could not be bothered. They wanted that 80s look. So, yeah. It's a Sin. It's an odd one with It's a Sin. I think because I came out from a Greek, it's weird. I feel like, because what's really sad about It's a Sin was the way the mother reacted, and it was
so
and
powerful.
Believed their son was with the girl, and so I never had that sort of thing. I guess because I left him before my mum and dad could even realise what I was, if that makes sense. But being around people with HIV and AIDS, it was like that, in the sense that people who you would know who were like 23 died on you, and
Yeah.
everyone that you knew. It was something that you feared so much more when you were younger because it was killing people who were younger. So
you were very aware of it as like your friendship circles got smaller.
got smaller. And friendship circles like that was almost like the likelihood of quite a few of your friends would have it, and they would talk about it. But it was probably talked about more into you would huddle like it was a death sentence. Whereas now I feel, especially with a lot of medication and prep and stuff like that, that actually it's something people live along with, and that whole, not necessarily stigma, because I think if anything, I've never been judgmental in that sense, but I think I've never looked at anyone saying something about in their status as anything other than just their status. It's not something that you would not necessarily feel sorry for, but you know there's a lot of support and help. And
Things have changed. I think the taboo is definitely still there.
Yeah.
But it's because it's no longer it's what do they call it now? It's not a life altering condition anymore. There's a phrase for it because you can
live along it.
Yeah.
It could be life altering in a sense, but it's not a death sentence in that sense. You can live off medication and really survive off it. So,
do you find that part of, sorry, this has gone so deep. Told you we go off on tangents and we go into it. Do you find that having that experience is what maybe like subconsciously maybe made you go into that field a little bit to support the community a bit more?
But when I definitely came back from London, my tick list was I want to give back to our community. I've always been proud of the community, of who I am, in the sense of like people who sometimes go, oh, I wish I wasn't gay, or but why would you wish that you weren't? We live in such a technicolor place of diversity and more understanding. I think some people confuse sympathy with empathy, and actually I'm really glad I understand what empathy is, and I think that's why I wanted to come back, support the community I was proud of in a city that I was born in, which then led me to doing health and well-being for the city on a whole through all the 5 neighborhoods. So I think it was always a passion of giving back, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Absolutely.
That's what I pride myself on. That's why I kind of, especially with Cheer Up, I've always tried to link into prides, not because it's anything to sort of flavor what I do, but I feel like what I've created could translate in such a way within prides that it would be so fruitful and enjoyable, as well as spreading the word of music and stuff like that.
So it's not just like, this is my target audience. It's just like, how can I be part of it?
How can I be part of it and use what I've taught myself to sort of deliver to a city that I'm proud of, that you see in a way could get support from different aspects throughout.
And I think that's actually quite powerful, saying like, education through music, because it kind of goes back to when Eurovision came to Liverpool with the whole United by Music stuff. And
which was such an amazing year for the city in 2023. And it's such a shame 12 months later, Eurovision was then seen as a negative as well. And it's a shame, because I understand with the politics of what's going on around the world. But if you break it down to the music, it is about people coming together from all destinations. So it's an odd one.
It's very nuanced, isn't it?
It's a shame, because a lot of venues that I've worked with, and they got so much hate
for showcasing it,
but even advertising to showcase it. And I think even now, with it coming up, it still is.
I feel it definitely more this year. I do seem to feel it a lot more this year, seeing online stuff in regards to it. And even to be fair, like, Ollie Alexander was the year for the UK when it was like, this is a big deal. He seems to still get flack now, I see online.
I feel like it's a domino effect, and I feel a bit sad, especially because he hasn't really done much since then. And that was such a great sort of song. And again, such a great song for like the LGBTQI plus, the imagery. Yeah, all right, the imagery was like a cottage, but
it was cruising.
It was cruising for the bruising, like. But it was done in a way that it was showcasing part of the history of the LGBT.
Yeah, watch where you're going here now. What type of history, though?
They did get me wrong. I was walking around Sefton Park with my friend the other day, and he was going, "Oh, there used to be a cottage there, and there used to be a cottage there," and so people still talk about it. So.
I love that. There used to be a cottage. Not there used to be a public toilet there. There used to be
it
a
was
cottage.
a cottage, and they call it a cottage, kids, because it looked like a cottage with a hatched roof.
Right.
Did you not know that?
I genuinely didn't know that was why they were called cottages.
Oh, yeah,
Cottage and-
because a lot of the toilets back in the day looked like
the
little
standalone publics.
Yeah, like the little hatched rooms. So that's why it was called cottaging.
Fucking hell.
Oh my God, I've educated you.
Yeah, learn something new every day. Theo, pack it in.
So that was why. But yeah, again, so Ollie doing that was interesting, but it was a great song, and it, like you said, but the flack at the time.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah.
So just take me back to Cheer Up, the Cheer Up parties. So was that always your thing, or was that something that you were part of that then you took over, or was like where did that like kind of, you know, tell me the idea of, but how did the actual setup come about?
So that's what I mean. So it organically came together after the cancelled concert. So there was like I said, there was a concert in Hyde Park with like loads of Stocky Mormon artists. Stocky Mormon were like the people behind Dead or Alive, Sonia, Sunita, Kylie, Jason, their big hits. And it was like a concert where they were all going to come together in a July date, but it rained. It was the summer of 2012 when it literally rained, like literally 40 days, like Noah. And then it was cancelled. But we then approached a venue in London called City of Quebec, which was like the oldest LGBTQI venue in London completely. Okay. And we just had a party there. So that's how it sort of came about.
So was that that a concert that you were part of organising? Or?
No, I was just going to go to the concert. We then organised.
So like, this still needs to go ahead.
Yeah. This stuff ahead, because loads of people had travelled from all over the world. They all just came together and literally went to this venue. So that's how we that's why the name is Cheer Up.
Because like, yeah, come on, let's get together and let's just cheer up.
Yeah. So it literally was. The Facebook group was called Cheer Up, and then we just all went there. So I didn't know any. I went down with a few friends from Liverpool. Yeah. But I didn't know anyone. Knew them from like speaking to them online, you know, we're gonna go to this concert, blah blah blah, like some of the guys who DJs in there. But in a sense, I didn't it just became, to be honest, that sort of music wasn't something that was really played anymore, like the Kylies and Donna Summers and
the 80s, 90s,
like 80s, 90s. So to have that, and the response was like huge. We thought, let's do a reunion. And then that's when it went to Birmingham to a venue called Eden. Yep. We had Hazeldine and Nathan Moore. And then I remember we were speaking about doing Liverpool, and that's when Sonia came. So it was initially about 2 other people. But now it's just myself for the last 6 years, I would say.
So it was a sheer accident.
It was a sheer fluke. Literally. It literally was only 3 or 4 times a year. It literally was more of a get together. When we were doing it, we got offered a monthly residency in Eagle, London.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I think they were almost a bit like Manchester, where it was more male dominated, but they kind of loved the fact that Cheer Up was so universal to the men and women and stuff. Anyone could come. So actually, I think they loved the branding of it, and from then they've sort of used in their venue that template of doing it. So that was, we were there for a good 3 years just before lockdown. When the last party we, funny enough, had was with Sunita.
Love that.
It was literally the last hurrah. It was the day before we went into lockdown. And I think the majority of people did catch it that day. So it wasn't
you were a super spreader event.
It was, I don't like to say, but I just remember Sunita saying she had it, but I do think a lot of people, it was literally about, I'll say a good week or so. I remember walking around London doing the Book Sphere's album launch a month before it all happened, the pandemic, and I saw people wearing masks. And I was slightly confused, because at that point it really hadn't reached UK shores and no one was really talking about it. So I think from then things sort of changed, because obviously then it was like 15 months of no events, which we then sort of went online, and just what was great. What I found from COVID was humanity was almost like everyone came together.
Yeah, it was a very bizarre time, and I can't believe it was 6 years ago.
I can't believe it was 6 years ago.
That's scary.
It was 6 years, literally March, so 6 years now. But everyone seemed to come together and gave their time. We did everything for free. Some of the acts who I worked with gave everything free. We did podcasts, we did weekly live streams. But it just made you realise, it brought the best out of humanity. During it, I have to say afterwards, I feel like the world has just gone polar opposite.
Oh, the world's gone to the bin at the minute.
I feel like there's just no discussion anymore. It feels like you can't even debate. It's not even a debate. You might have a different opinion, or you might bring up a different opinion, and people just jump on you.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like the right are all about free speech until the free speech differs from this.
Well, exactly. Yeah. It's almost like ostrich syndrome, where you put your head in the sand and you
Quite
just think,
literally.
no, I don't want to hear this. Whereas back in the day, you educated. Education was such a power and a form of understanding, and love thy neighbor and stuff like that. But now everything just seems to be, I don't agree with it. I'm not even going to bother.
And this is where earlier on in the conversation you mentioned about how like it feel like a really accepting place to be LGBTQ plus and this, that, and the other. And I was about to interject until the conversation carried on because I was like, no, it's not anymore, because it has massively, like, I'm terrified for, well, mostly our trans siblings at the moment, because it feels like it's just on them at the minute. But it's going to continue even further.
Oh, to be honest, way back when, 97, I supported a transsexual who had MS, so they were in a wheelchair, and we lived in Brixton, which was probably more rougher back then, a bit like after the riots. But I felt safe supporting them, taking them to Woolworths. Other shops are available. Well, this is gone.
Yeah, Woolworths isn't there.
Except for Woolies. But it felt like such a safe place. I did not want to think, oh, they're looking at them or they're judging them. It felt so safe. And I remember even going to a nightclub called the Way Out Club, which was for transgenders and their admirers. And it was like, I think they still do it now. There's an amazing venue in London called Zodiac, which is trans run, and everyone who manages it runs it. And it's literally 10 minutes walk from Euston, just down the road from Camden. And it looks like literally an old man pub. Like, from the outside, it looks like the post house.
Okay, yeah.
But you walk in and there's florals on the wall. It's just like a TARDIS.
Yeah.
In TARDIS, sorry. So it's just an amazing sort of venue. But again, it does feel so much more fearful now than it ever did.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
And I do think a lot of that is to do with possibly Brexit. It seems like there's been a shift.
Since that point.
I feel like, unfortunately, everyone was on the same page. I even feel like all the people who weren't fully accepting of the LGBTQI community felt like they need to catch up and be more inclusive. But I feel like with Brexit, there was a lot of connotations and between the lines of why they wanted. And I think in that sense, it brought out the hatred of all aspects. Yeah. And I feel, unfortunately, the community got a massive backlash from it. And it's just such a... It's worrying. It's sad. It
is horrendous. And I think you are right. I do think that point 10 years ago, Jesus, literally 2016 was the vote. That did seem to be like the starting gun of this bizarre decline in attitudes.
I think up until then, United Kingdom was a United Kingdom. And I feel like even when you get these people who protest in Pride and stuff like that, even they probably thought to themselves, oh, why are we doing this? Because we're a minority. I think once Brexit happened and they became the majority, they realised that actually, unfortunately, the views that they probably always had but didn't really want to speak out loud almost became a red flag to a ball that they could start talking about.
I would challenge them being the majority. I think it's more the we have a silent majority who just don't speak up sometimes because they just don't want to. Yeah. And the ones who are very vocal are very vocal.
Well, that's when I go back to the 50-50. It seems like you can either be one or the other.
Yes.
Even like with other debates, you see people like discussing things about, even if it's not a negative or a positive about trans community, it's almost like then the people who are supportive also rip the other side, and there's non-discussion between the two. Like you might get pop stars or things like in the past or something that people might just not want to listen to the other conversation. Not the other conversation in the sense that it's going to be negative. If you put two people who have opposing views in a room and left them there, they're going to find
they'll find common ground.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And therefore, it would then educate them to go away and feed back to their sort of tribes. And I think in that sense, why aren't people just opening their hearts and just loving each other? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think especially for definitely trans activists I've spoken to, because the hatred's been so volatile over the years. Sometimes the patience has just gone.
Yeah.
It's like, why do I want to give a second of my time to someone who hates me and just wants me gone? And that's, you know what, like we've seen it at the moment, like Trump.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, like the last thing I seen was that there's something to do with ICE now being able to target trans people. And it's like, why? Because the Americans, let's not go down that rabbit hole.
Well, they've changed quite a lot, haven't they? They've changed laws and rules, and so that's the scary thing. I always remember speaking to one of my friends before like Brexit happened. I go, don't vote Brexit, because again, our LGBTQR rights might change. They go like, no, they won't. I go, love, just look at Russia. You know, there was people who were open. I remember watching a documentary where there was a lesbian open couple who had children, and their chat, as soon as Russia changed their laws, their child was taken into care. So it's a worrying place that people's lives are played out like a board game, where it can just, do you know what, hopefully things will be positive. And I think it just needs people being more open, more apparent, and a bit more visible in a sense.
Visibility and representation, really important.
And that's what's so great about doing Pride, and that's what's been, hopefully Liverpool will create a brand new Liverpool Pride, which is all singing or dancing, but more so all community of what we stand for.
So is that kind of what you're hoping for Cheer Up to become more of? It's something, a place to go to let your hair down, forget all like your woes, and it'd be a happy place. Is that the envisionment for it?
Oh yeah, it's really weird, because first of all, I felt a bit like Miley Cyrus, first of all, when she went from Hannah Montana to Wrecking Ball, but I thought, the name Cheer Up, oh gosh, I don't know. But actually...
Yeah. It's the brand in itself now, yeah.
But the amount of people who go, I've been so cheered up coming, it actually played for itself. And literally, do you know what? I feel the magic of Cheer Up is, it literally is like a house party.
Yeah.
Like I will literally greet people around it. Even if I'm DJ, and I will literally say hello to everyone. I'll take photos of everyone like it's my birthday party. And that is what I think has made it magical. People know they're going to have a good time. The music is always really upbeat. And it's commercial, but it's some sort of underground. Stocking Walton wasn't everyone's cup of tea. But I've been lucky enough to work with Madonna's people, Kylie's people. I did a Danny Minogue party.
Wow.
You know,
with Danny?
No, but she was like sort of endorsing sort of thing, because of Love a Kiss. Oh, I wish she was there. No, she was in Australia. She always does say, next time I'm going to be there. Oh my God, Danny Minogue, please come.
Get there.
And Kylie. But to have like, literally this week I've launched a Sunita show. She's actually going to be there. So she wants to, because we've worked so closely together for 9 years, we're going to be doing like a show where it's going to be like no other, where not only is she going to perform, she's going to do like sort of an evening with.
Right, okay.
So
there's conversation
stories,
stuff.
Q&A, maybe make it into a bit of a musical. We're planning it, even though it's the 1st of May. So we're doing that. So there's some exciting stuff. Like, but again, my 8-year and 10-year-old self pinch me now.
Yeah.
Was
never imagine that would happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But again, I enjoy it. But I see it. I want to be more involved with Pride in a sense of, again, giving back what I've been lucky to experience, if that makes sense.
I think with Pride's interesting, because I think you could totally do, which I think you already have done. I think you mentioned it earlier. Like, it can travel. So like Cheer Up could be like on a stage at a Pride event for like a half an hour or something, like a set, and that could be like, this is the Cheer Up party part of whatever Pride it is.
But if I did Southampton Pride, Vivian was the headline, and I DJ'd for the hour before. So again, that was on the main stage. It was really, but like you said, it was. I definitely think it translates for itself, because I think a lot of time with Prides, music is what people want to do. They want to have a drink, they want to socialize, and sometimes actually just have a music on a stage is what is needed, because you're able then to mingle and not feel too. What I love Brighton Pride, don't get me wrong, but when I first went to Brighton Pride, there was one stage and there was probably 4 acts. You know, now it's almost become, that's the festival.
Yeah, well, they've announced as today of recording, it's, what's the date today? So it's the end of 26th of March today, and like Brighton and Hove Pride has announced its full lineup.
Paris Hilton.
I know, what the hell?
Wow. Do you know what? I loved Stars Are Blind song, but she did make me think, oh God, I wouldn't mind going there.
Well, yeah, exactly. So maybe we could get cheer up parties on Brighton Pride.
I did Brighton Pride. Actually, we did their 50th parade.
Wow.
It was what is it with rain? It literally was the wettest. Like you could see the hurricane in the background, and there's Hazeldean hidden in the car as the grey. We had to start the parade an hour early as well because it was
that bad.
It was so bad, so windy. So but Brighton Pride, the experience of it is just incredible, isn't it? It's such a gorgeous place. Brighton should be the template of what every city should be like in England, to be honest, because it's so.
Don't say that when you're in Liverpool.
Oh no, but Liverpool, yeah, but it's multicultural. Like I always, when I lived there, the best description of Brighton was like you could walk down the street in a wedding dress and no one was batting an eyelid. That's going back 20 years ago. So that's what I mean about the progression. I don't think anyone walking down Liverpool in a wedding dress unless you're like in Pride. I don't know if you would.
No, probably not.
Whether you'd be cheered or jeered. So, yeah.
Probably go ahead, lad.
Yeah, you could do, yeah. Go ahead, lads, go on.
So what do you see the future holding? Like, what do you want to do with both yourself and also Cheer Up?
Do you know what? With myself, I just want to, I feel, like I said at the start, when you're 20-something, people look at older people as like, oh, shut up, old man, or you're past it.
Bit of ageism in the community, yeah.
Whereas actually, I want to age and be the dungeon master in the sense of like
careful.
Yeah, that's how but you know what I mean, like in Dungeons and Dragons where the little old man used to come around and he would be the knowledgeable one who'd help you to escape. Not to escape, but what I'm trying to say is I feel I want to still give. Every day's a school day, and I feel like if you're not learning,
maybe cottages.
Exactly. You've not even tried them yet. Don't think there's any. But I feel like every day's a school day, and I would love to. I continue want to give back. Definitely want to get more involved with Prides. Liverpool. I would love to do more in Cyprus as well. They've started Pride. They're on to their third Pride in Cyprus in Nicosia. And this is a country that literally was illegal to be gay in 2001. So, but again, we went there quite recently. And the progression, you could say there's a lot of the community running cafes, running bars, and it's a really nice space, but it would be great to kind of tie them in all together for their sort of feel of community. So again, I would love to do more in Cyprus, definitely more in Liverpool. And with Cheer Up, I absolutely love working in the Royal Boxer Tavern. Like literally, that's where Lily Savage, that's where that infamous story of Lily Savage, when the police came in the 80s and they all had to wear rubber gloves on because they thought they were going to catch AIDS. Like, this is the most iconic venue in London. And what's so sad is when I came out in London, Old Compton Street was literally like 10, 12 venues for our community. It literally now is like maybe 3 or 4. Even Jeremy Joseph having to sell like GAY's originally from the Astoria to GAY Bar, GAY Late. It's venues like this that we do need to keep surviving and thriving and make everything needs to be inclusive. I understand that, but also I feel like there needs to be communities where this belongs to the LGBTQI plus, and just
because it's a safe space.
It's a safe space, but it's also history. It's almost like, not that I'm saying like the museums are like the gay bars, but it's shutting down places that are relevant and history that we need to sort of support and love and maintain as part of our community instead of being sold off to a chain. So support your venues, support your local venues. Liverpool has loads of great venues as well, so, and that's what I mean, Liverpool does have some great venues, some great personalities. And again, this is where definitely Pride in any city, but definitely in Liverpool, come together, showcase what you are. You want someone who comes from Amsterdam or Germany who come for the day to walk into a Pride and go, this is what Liverpool's about. Oh, that's a gay bar. Oh, that's the Lisbon. Oh, that's Masquerade. And I think that's where everyone needs to be webbed together. Woven.
Bit more into
woven like a technical rainbow.
All right, Joseph.
Any dream will do.
So if people want to find out more about yourself, where can they go online, or if is there a website for Cheer Up?
So website for Cheer Up is God, let me think. www.cheerupultimatepopparty.co.uk.
Could they Google it as well?
They can Google it. I think actually if you put Cheer Up Party, it is the first ones. Cool. Like Instagram, Facebook is Cheer Up Ultimate Party. handles, and we're also on X, though.
No one uses X.
X's, it doesn't feel very community based anymore.
Absolutely not.
But Instagram, TikTok, all of them are cheer up ultimate parties, yeah. So yeah,
like that. This has been a journey. This conversation.
I know. Oh my god, I'm such a Libra. I do go from one point to another.
No, it's been great. I'm happy that we touched on a bit of history because I think that's really important, and as well of what you're doing future wise. It's beautiful. Like especially what you're saying about cheer up parties and what you want to do with it and what the ethos of it is and what people leave feeling cheered up.
Oh, totally. They feel cheered up, and that's what it's about. You want to go out and you're spending money on a ticket, but you actually want to feel the freedom and be yourself. And I feel like music, like Madonna says, music makes the people come together. And I think that really is a great way to look at it. Yeah. You know, you might not know the acts, but you'll definitely know the songs.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a fabulous thing to end on. Like music brings the people together.
Yeah, totally. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Ah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is Mario.
Kyriacou. This is John. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you for listening to Proudly Said. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, check out the rest of our episodes where you listen to your podcasts. If you want to support the podcast and keep this conversation going, consider joining The Front Row, our exclusive membership program for less than £3 a month, where you get exclusive access and so much more. Check out our website for more information, proudlysaid.co.uk.